Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's talk, Digital Advocacy Affecting Change Through Social Media. So, today I want to talk about advocacy pages and how we can use social media to try to bring about change that we think our community and the larger society needs. So, mag-share din ako about my experiences creating and managing the Marlon Reston Mental Health Warrior Fund advocacy page. And by the way, I'm Lofi Bermejo. I'm a multimedia creative by trade, and in my free time, I do advocacy work for mental health and women's rights. Okay, so let's get started. So ito ang ating i-cover na content for today. Anyway, it's not so long, so I hope you don't get bored. Yan. So, first things first, ano nga ba ang digital advocacy? So, advocacy is an organized process of influencing people or institutions in order to achieve a positive change. At kapag sinabi natin na digital advocacy, that simply means yung process natin is mostly digital and by using digital tools. Okay, and bakit ba natin dapat gamitin ang digital advocacy? So it has several plus points. So first, it's accessible to anyone with internet connection. So sa internet, di ba sinasabi na there are no geographical barriers. So anyone from any place in the world can view your page. And because of this, so you can potentially reach many people. There's also a variety of content creation tools that we can use for free. And then meron ding measurement and reporting tools. For example, sa Facebook or Instagram, you can know how your advocacy page is doing through the statistics and insights provided by the platform. And of course, doing digital advocacy is quick and cheap. But having said that, there are also challenges when it comes to digital advocacy. So there are important things to keep in mind, and mamaya we will try to answer some of these challenges or provide some kind of solution for them. Okay, so first of all, social media is saturated. So how do you differentiate yourself? So sabi nila on average daw, 350 million photos are uploaded daily to Facebook. So photos pa lang yun. Wala pa dyan yung videos, mga status updates. Yan. So the question is, what makes your page different? And then yung next naman is platforms keep changing their algorithms. How can you keep reaching your audience? Okay, so when we say algorithms, ito yung way to sort posts in a user's feed based on relevance rather than the publishing time. So for example, sa Facebook, mas nakikita mo yung posts ng family and close friends mo in your feed because they are the ones you interact with most. Yan. So why is this important? The algorithms impact reach o kung gaano kalawak yung naabot mo. And so this can be tricky to navigate. Paiba-iba nga yung algorithms and sometimes it really needs trial and error. And then also, not everyone has access to the internet. So how do you include the unconnected? Okay, so part three, let's talk about developing a digital advocacy strategy. So we have several steps here. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, so first, we start with setting clear goals and objectives. So ano ba yung gusto mong ma-achieve with your advocacy page? So let's go on to number two. Identify the audience you would like to reach. So who are you trying to influence? What is their age? location, profession, gender, interests, and other things. So this is very important to do because it will determine yung step 3 and step 4 mo. So for step 3, it says select the social media platforms you plan to focus on. So which platforms are best for your goals and audience. So for example, ang target audience mo ay mga kabataan. Ayan. So maybe you decide to do TikTok. But if it's more of the professionals, so you could do on LinkedIn. Ganyan. And then step 4, gather resources and plan content to share on social media. So what kind of content will your target audience want to see? So dito din pumapasok yung dapat kilala mo yung kung sino ang audience mo and what they prefer, what are their interests, patok ba sa kanila ang videos or are yung demographic ba na yun ay mas into reading essays or articles. And then step 5 is if you're working with a team like I do, so it's best to delegate tasks. Okay, so alam niyo na kung anong content gagawin nyo. So who will do the research, writing, graphics, or video editing. And of course, there should be a set deadline for these deliverables. Yan, di pa tapos. So step 6, develop a posting strategy. How often will you post? What is the best schedule for posting? And what tools can you use? So we'll talk more about this later, yung details nito. And then step 7, monitor and evaluate. So are you progressing towards your goal? Maybe after some time na you're putting out this content, then you can assess in this way. So, what works and what doesn't based on your experience. And then step 8 is revise and adjust. Okay, so what changes will you make to your content and strategy, if any? Kung na-realize nyo na there's a better way of doing things, then yun, you should adjust. So now I want to talk about how we advocate for mental health through the Marlon Reston Mental Health Warrior Fund. Okay, so we call it the Marl Fund for short. And this is named after the mental health warrior and advocate known to many as Kuya Marl. So he was our colleague in the mental health NGO and he was our close friend. But sadly, he passed away last year in March. But kaming mga kasama niya ay we wanted to continue his work in mental health advocacy. So we decided to put up this this fund um, in his honor. And so we aim to increase access to quality mental health services by providing financial assistance for psychological and psychiatric consultations. And aside from that, we also provide peer support to our beneficiaries. And dito pumapasok yung advocacy page. We also aim to increase awareness and fight the stigma surrounding mental health through a variety of activities and projects. Okay, so kung natatandaan nyo kanina ang ating digital advocacy strategy, the first one was to set your goal. Okay, so sa Marl Fund, ito ang aming objectives. Basically, it's 3. So first, promote. So you want to promote help-seeking behavior and encourage people to consult with mental health professionals. Yan. So you want people who may have a mental disorder to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist for diagnosis and treatment. And yung next dito, inform. So this goes hand in hand with yung ating promoting help-seeking behavior kasi people will not want to seek help kung hindi nila alam ang tungkol sa mental health services, kung natatakot sila, o kung nag-aalala sila sa sasabihin ng ibang tao. So we really need information and education to dispel myths and fight the stigma. So that's why we inform, we increase mental health awareness through educational content. And then finally, we also aim to inspire. So we want to provide encouragement and motivation to mental health warriors by sharing positive messages. So mental health warriors ang tawag natin sa mga people who are living with mental disorder. So we prefer that term over patient or ano ba, struggler. Kasi warrior mas palaban. Yan, mas proactive ang warrior when it comes to fighting the illness. Yan. So, next, ang target audience naman natin ay youth. Ayan. So according to the City Health Services Office, there has been an increase in suicide cases in 2021 and most of them are young adults. So gusto natin i-target ang ating youth, including the students, the out-of-school youth, the fresh graduates. Yan, gusto din natin i-target ang working age population like my generation who are now maybe some of us are parents and maybe juggling our career and family life and all other responsibilities. And then we also want to target the residents of Baguio or Benguet kasi sila rin ang ating target beneficiaries. Okay, and of course, the mental health warriors. So, like I said, people with lived experience of mental disorders. Okay, so once that's clear ang ating target audience, we decided on using Facebook and Instagram at the Moral Fund. And then we also put up our website, themoralfund.org, para madaling makita lahat ng details sa isang page. Okay, so let me present our regular content that we make for the Moral Fund. So we try to post regularly, almost every day. And nagsaschedule kami nitong mga specific content on specific days. So for example, on Sunday, we make our Sunday slides. Ito yung ating mga educational content. So we've picked out some mental health topics and then researched about them and then put them in. We lay out them on these square slides that are easy to read. Yeah, so these are some of the topics that we've already posted. And here's an example of yung entire set of it. So for Suicide Prevention Month, noong September last year, we came up with this one. And then on Mondays, we have verbatim. Ayan, kasi si Marl, he really liked posting mental health messages on his Facebook. So madami siyang mga ganitong klaseng posts. So we took those posts and then we just lay out them on this easy to read format. Kaya these are all in his own words. For Tuesdays, we have our self-care kuneho. Ayan, nagbibigay siya ng mga tips on how to take care of yourself. Ayan, self-care and self-love. And we have an artist, a volunteer who does these illustrations. And then for Fridays, okay, so we have Marl's memos. Hindi ata nagpo-play yung video. But anyway, these are video clips of mga appearances ni Marl in webinars, on talk shows, radio programs. Because when he was alive, madami siyang mga pinupuntahan talaga na ganon in order to spread awareness and share his experiences as a mental health warrior. So we cut clips of those. Short lang, mga 2 to 5 minutes per clip on a specific topic. Yeah, we try to put that out every Friday. Yan. And we have other content that's not so regular, but we put out statements kapag meron tayong mga like holidays or significant dates in mental health. Ayan. So we have for Pride Month, meron din nung International Human Rights Day nung December 10. We also put out a statement asserting that mental health is a human right, and as such, it should be respected and upheld in the same way that all other human rights are. Okay. And also, nung start ng campaign period, we also put out this statement, not saying na you should vote for a specific candidate, but saying just vote wisely, vote for mental health. Yun. Vote for a candidate that would be good for the mental health of the country. Okay, so if you remember kanina yung sa challenges in doing digital advocacy, 'di ba isa doon is how do you differentiate yourself? So sa Moral Fund, we are trying to take a more intersectional approach to mental health kasi we recognize that mental health does not exist in a vacuum, but it is interconnected with different social identities of people like yung kanilang gender, race, class, disability, sexual orientation. Yeah, so there's a lot of factors, a lot, and these social identities may have an impact on mental health. Iba-iba din yung impact nila. So yun yung gusto natin na approach to mental health, which I think maybe not so many mental health pages are doing, at least to my knowledge. Okay, we also have some printables. For example, we developed this safety plan. Okay, so ito yung parang when someone is feeling suicidal, pag someone is triggered, this would come in very helpful kasi nakalista dito yung iyong trigger and warning signs, people you can ask for help, mental health professionals that you can call, activities you can do to distract yourself on your own or with a group. So things like that. And dito yata sa baba, meron dito yung things that are worth living for you. So dinevelop natin itong printables. It comes in English, Filipino, and Ilocano. So it's free to download and to print. So once na-print siya, you're gonna fill out this plan, and then pwede mo siyang ilagay sa room, anywhere that is easy to see, so that pag na-trigger ka or you're feeling like self-harming or you're kind of suicidal na, then you can look at your safety plan and see there how to keep yourself safe. So yun yung ating printable. Yeah, and then we also repost mental health articles and inspiring quotes, images, and memes. So I think this was the last article that we shared. So it talks about why we have to talk about Bruno for our mental health. So it's a kind of article that we think would appeal to the younger audience. Yan, yung mga nakapanood na ng Encanto. Okay, and then we also have our webinars or live events. Well, so far, Summer Fund, we've only had one. We had this in December, but in my past advocacy pages on mental health, then we used to have like a webinar every month, sometimes even two webinars in a month. So that's also a good way to get more engagement, more traffic for your uh, advocacy page. And of course, to spread awareness. And here is it's just a snapshot of our task delegation. It looks something like this. So for example, yung content natin na Sunday slides. So the task is to come up with a topic. So tatlo kami dyan na in charge. And then someone would research and summarize on this topic. So that falls usually to Denise, one of our teammates. She also makes the caption. And then once she's done with these, then ako yung nagle-layout. And then, ganun din sa Self-Care Kuneho, our artist, our volunteer artist, Shell, makes the illustration, and then Evie makes the captions. Okay, so for our posting strategy, we try to post at least once a day, and we schedule our posts at 10 a.m. So, ni-research din namin ito, like what's the best time to post on Facebook for wider reach. So, according din sa research namin, it's usually from 10 a.m. to like 2 or 4 p.m. So, that's what we try to do. And then also we post statements for holidays and significant dates. And then we also use a lot of images and videos kasi these are more engaging to users than just plain text post. Yan, madaming mga visual na tao. Okay, next. So we'll talk about the content creation, productivity, and communication tools. So for this talk, I included just the ones that can be used for free. Yeah, because we don't want to go bankrupt doing our digital advocacy. So we have to be smart about it. There's a lot of free resources out there if you know where to look. Yeah. And then just, of course, kailangan din pagtsagaan to learn how to use it at first. But once you've learned and you know the ropes na, it's very easy to use. So first we have Canva. Okay, this is what we use for our content creation for graphics, videos, and presentations. And in fact, my presentation right now I made through Canva. So of course there's a free account for this. Meron din paid. But with the free account, the free plan, madami ka na magagawa talaga eh. Ayan, so it's quite easy. There are templates, i-edit mo na lang and then it's good to go. It's really a time saver. Because for me, in my work, I usually use mga Adobe programs like Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere. Pero mas mabigat kasi yon and it does take a bit more time to do. So for content creation, I think Canva is perfect. Okay, then we also use Trello. This is a visual work management tool. We use this for planning, managing, and organizing content and activities. So this is great for teams. Pero maganda din siya for individual use. So ako din, meron din akong individual Trello ko. But the way we use it is, for example, here on your screen, you can see there yung um, list for Sunday slides. Yan. So, mag-post kami doon ng mga topics. And then, once Denise, our teammate, uh, sees it, she researches on it, summarizes, creates the content. And then when I see na natapos na ni Denise, then I lay it out na on Canva. So something like that, and then we schedule it na for posting. So it's very organized, and it's very easy to follow and use. And then, of course, we also have the Meta Business Suite, formerly known as Facebook Business. Pinalitan lang nila yung name. Okay, so this is for measurement tools and also for post scheduling. So makita nyo dito yung parang calendar. So pwede nyo gawin yung content nyo like at the beginning of the week or kung kaya nyo yung buong month and then just schedule them daily dito sa ating Meta Business. Para you don't need to, hindi nyo na kailangan asikasuhin every day. Yan, ipopost na lang ng Facebook yan automatically. So kapag gumawa ka ng Facebook page, automatically you have this Meta Business Suite. And then, of course, there are the measurement tools here. It gives you insights according to yung engagement, yung reach ng iyong posts. So that's very helpful as well. Okay, then we have our Facebook groups and Messenger group chat. This is for coordination, brainstorming, and planning. So we have our group chat for the Moral Fund as well as our volunteers hub na group, and that's where we post mga activities, mga upcoming na mga projects and stuff. And then this is for live events naman, like webinar. Um, our platform of choice is StreamYard. It's very easy to use. Napaka-intuitive ng controls niya. It looks great. It looks very professional. Yung free na plan nito just has like the StreamYard watermark. But I think that's fine for all the other features you can use. Hindi naman distracting yon. For the paid one, you can put your own watermark, your own logo, and it has more features. But the free one is good enough na. And in fact, that's what we used before sa aming mga live events. Okay. And of course, you can also use Zoom. This is naman for webinars up to 100 participants, but the free plan comes with a 40-minute limit. Um, Dun sa StreamYard, wala siyang time limit, pero 6 people at a time lang ang pwede mag-appear on screen. Yan. So, just decide na lang which one is better for your purpose. Yeah, but personally ako, I do use I like to use StreamYard. Okay, and here are other free tools that you can use for content creation. So my alternative tayo for photo editing. Photoshop is paid, but GIMP is free. These are open source softwares. Inkscape for illustration, Audacity for audio editing, Shotcut for video editing. Or kahit sa phone, di ba, may mga video editing apps na madali lang gamitin. For scheduling and productivity, you can use Google Sheets, pwede din calendar app on your phone. And then for communication, so also Zoom or Google Meet. Okay, so now I want to talk about digital advocacy ethics. And dinivide ko siya into do's and don'ts. So first, the do. Do research thoroughly to ensure that your content is factual and accurate. Yeah, so very important siya, especially if your advocacy page has to do with health or mental health. You owe it to your audience to give them only the truth. And then also do respect copyright rules, cite your sources properly. Ayan. So this is very important. Um, Parang dapat advocacy pages should be held to a higher standard than, say, a meme page or a fan page. So I know na talamak sa internet yung just grabbing photos or content and reposting it. But sana we respect copyright rules, and if we are going to repost something, we cite our sources properly. Okay, and then also for mental health advocacy pages, it's good to put a disclaimer or content warning in certain posts. So for example, yung sinabi ko kanina na we made a safety plan. So we put a disclaimer there na the safety plan is not a substitute for seeking professional help. Kasi baka akala nung tao na nag-download nun, basta gawin lang niya yung safety plan, tas okay na yon, okay na siya. But we put there na the safety plan is only one of the tools that you can use, but it shouldn't be the only tool. So best pa rin if you go to a mental health professional in order to get treatment, and then parang additional na lang yung safety plan. So something like that. And of course, kung yung content nyo might be triggering for some people, it's best to put a warning there also. Okay, and then do also engage with your audience and promptly respond to messages. So naka-increase din yon ng engagement kapag you reply to yung mga comments ng audience mo dun sa isang post. And also, yon, especially pag mental health advocacy page, mag, kapag may mag-message sa'yo, it's good that you're able to respond immediately kasi hindi natin alam kung if that is like an emergency na kailangan natin actionan agad by referring to the proper mental health service provider or emergency services kung kailangan. And sa Facebook naman, meron yung mga you can parang pre-program yung mga responses. So for example, sa Marl Fund, may mga pre-answered na questions doon like, are you accepting beneficiaries now? Ganun. So ika-click lang nila sa messenger and then um, lalabas na doon yung response na we entered beforehand. Ganon. So para immediate yung reply doon sa nag-message. And then let's go on to the don'ts. Okay, so don't plagiarize content. It's just the flip side of yung respect copyright rules. So avoid using CTTO. Okay, nakikita niyo siguro to or baka nagamit niyo na din. So CTTO means credits to the owner. Okay, but existing laws say that you should mention the source or the author of the material. And because CTTO doesn't mention either, it's not a proper way of giving credit. Yeah. And yun nga, just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean it's right. Um, and this is not only to avoid future legal issues, but also because it's the right thing to do. So sabi ko nga, di ba, mga advocacy pages, you want to create positive change, but kapag dishonest naman tayo, kahit dun sa page, di ba, parang napaka-ironic. And meron naman din kasing mga material that are for fair use or it's in the public domain and therefore it's free to use, wala siyang copyright. So kailangan din alamin talaga kung ano yung um, copyright dun sa isang uh, content. And then also don't write in all caps. Ayan, kasi parang sumisigaw, di ba? Don't be a spammer. Don't overpost. So, hindi din naman maganda. Like, if you're posting 10 things a day, so that would be too much naman. Baka mainis lang yung inyong followers at mag-unfollow. So, just know also yung limit. And then don't also screenshot messages and publicize them. Maybe some businesses do this, like yung mga testimonial about their products. But if you're running an advocacy page and people come to you with like sensitive issues na gusto nilang i-share, they're asking for a mental health service provider. So, 'di ba, parang we should respect naman privacy. It's not good to kahit naburahin nyo yung name or whatever, it's not good to post it or even to ask their permission to post it. Parang ganun. And for general mental health advocacy pages, I would advise against promoting a specific religion or political faction. Ayun. So, this is kind of a contentious issue, but Marl was very adamant about this when he was alive. And yung reasoning niya is that people are diverse. Diba? That's a fact. People have different beliefs, sexual orientations, preferences. And as mental health advocates, it's not our place to debate whether someone's identity is right or wrong. So hindi tayo ang morality police. Kasi in mental health, the last thing you want to do is to exclude or ostracize other people. So, let's say nag-post ka ng Christian content sa page mo, automatically you're excluding those of a different faith or yung mga agnostic or atheist or those who have church trauma, um, but who really might need to hear about your mental health message. But because you put that barrier, they won't bother listening to what you have to say. So, but we do recognize that faith and spirituality can play a part in someone's recovery. And in fact, I know of a Christian support group, and of course, they're free to post religious content. So, okay naman yun, like if you make it clear na we are a Christian advocacy page, mental health advocacy page, to make it clear. Ayan. But in general, for mental health pages and groups, I think it's better uh, not to do that. So also the same goes for mga political personalities, factions. So note that I didn't say be apolitical because that means being indifferent. And if we recognize intersectionality in mental health, that's a very social-political concept. And we do believe that we should involve ourselves in the political process, like pushing for legislation for mental health, but we won't be endorsing any particular candidate or party for the same reason as yung sinabi ko kanina dun sa religion. We don't want to exclude anyone who might need to hear our mental health message. Okay, so we're on our last topic, tips and tricks. Okay, so first of all, complete and update your page profiles. So this is important para yung pumunta sa page nyo, they get the complete information, alam nila right away what this page is all about. And then second, post regularly and consistently. So regularly means the frequency. If you can do it every day, then do consistently yung quality, yung tone ng inyong posts. And know what time is best for posting for greater reach. Yan. So you can research this. Iba-iba din for like different platforms, for different places, different countries. So it's best to look this up. And then four, determine what kind of tone or language is best for your audience. Ayan. So if yung target nyo is youth, alangan naman you're gonna use like very formal, highfalutin language. So it's best to be more conversational, informal, taglish, ganyan. Para mas accessible siya sa iyong target audience. And number five, watch your grammar and spelling. This also adds kasi to the reputation of your page. So better to have someone spell check. In my case, kapag ako nagsusulat, ang dami kong mga maling spelling. So I'm really grateful that we have a team. Yan. So tinitignan muna nila yung sinulat ko bago ipopost. And they usually catch a lot of misspelled words there. Okay. And then six, use hashtags strategically. Don't abuse them. So, wag naman yung mas mahaba pa yung hashtags nyo kaysa dun sa mismong post. But hashtags are important for reach also kasi pag may nag-type ng, kunwari, hashtag mental health, yan. So, pwedeng lumabas yung post ninyo. So, use them strategically, but don't overdo it. And then seven is share without expectations. Okay, so putting time and effort into social media doesn't mean you'll see big results right away. So it's similar to starting your business. Maybe mabagal at first, ayan, but just keep keep on keeping on. And maybe later on you'll see some results. Okay. Number 8 naman is go live. Yan. So according to studies, Facebook Live now has greater reach, around like 6 times more reach and engagement than uh, a regular video. So, yun, maganda to go live every once in a while. If you can, every month, that would be good. It does take a lot of preparation, especially if you're going to be inviting resource speakers. Pwede din naman yung parang podcast type na magchichikahan lang kayo. Right. But yun nga, it does take a lot of planning, researching, once you decide to do a live event or a webinar. Okay. So, 9 naman is handle criticism gracefully. Ayan. Paano kung may mga basher? So, ganun din bilang mental health advocacy page. So, maganda din if you do things diplomatically. Yan. Wag naman yung bardagulan kasi that would go against also yung ating advocacy. So, ayan lang. Just listen to criticism. Tignan nyo kung may magandang mapupulot kayo doon and then be graceful, accept it. Pag yung mga trolls naman siguro, I don't know, just if you are sure na troll nga lang yon, then maybe you could block. Na wala naman talagang magandang sinasabi. So yun. So but for coming from real people with real criticisms, then it's good to listen to them. And then number 10, collaborate. Yan. So there's no one group or page that has a monopoly on mental health knowledge. So maganda to join forces. Yan. With other groups, other mental health service providers, in order to have like a more well-rounded than discussions on mental health. Okay, so let's go on to number 11. So don't get hung up about numbers. Yan, parang 7 then. So growing your advocacy page is it's a long-term effort, but sometimes we want to have big numbers right away. But be cautious because it can also work against us. So, for example, in our desire to have more likes or follows, we resort to clickbait or sensationalism. So, hindi naman maganda yon. Um, so, ito yung natutunan ko based on experience that quality is always better than quantity. Yeah. So, for example, you have a page with 10,000 followers, but 5,000 of those are bots. So, diba? Your message doesn't get sent to as many people as you would think. So, number 12, know your limitations and set boundaries. So, don't burn yourself out. Kami sa Moral Fund, we all have our day jobs, and we just do the Moral Fund in our extra time. So, ayun nga, it's not good if we put in too much of ourselves into it kasi sabi nga nila you can't pour from an empty cup. And for others, they might have their studies, ganon. So it's good to have just a schedule. Kunwari free day mo ang Sunday. Yan. So you can make your content then, schedule them on your page. And then for the rest of the week, ano ka na lang, mag-check ka na lang ng messages or comments. So yun. So dapat meron ka ding a set schedule for doing your advocacy page. And then number 13. Yan, go beyond digital. So you remember yung ating challenges again. How do we reach yung mga hindi connected to the internet? So maganda if we have um, a balance of digital advocacy plus on the ground advocacy as well para ma-reach yung mga hindi natin ma-reach through the internet. Yun nga lang, medyo mahirap pa ito gawin ngayon kasi pandemic, pero maybe later on, yan, pwede na ulit tayo mag in-person gatherings and like seminars, hindi na webinar. Okay. And then for number 14, have fun. It shouldn't be like a dry, boring thing na napipilitan ka lang gawin. So don't be afraid to try new things. Shake things up from time to time when it gets too routinary. Try to learn something new, a new app or um, a new platform. And then last, but maybe the most important of all, always remember the why of your advocacy. So bakit mo ba ginagawa ito? Kasi ano siya, required. um, but yun nga, there has to be a deeper reason than that if you plan to continue. Um, so it can get tough having an running an advocacy page, but your why will be your drive and motivation to keep going. So sa amin sa Moral Fund, ang why namin is most of us have lived experience of a mental illness. So we are mental health warriors. So we know how hard it is kapag wala kang support system, if you don't have access to information, to mental health services. So you want to make it a bit easier for those who will be coming after us. Um, and then also gusto namin ipagpatuloy yung nasimulan ni Marl. So even though he's no longer with us, we want his name to live on. We want more people to know about what kind of person he was through our advocacy. And so I leave you with this quote from Marl Reston himself. So sabi niya, every time I give a talk on suicide prevention and my journey as a suicide attempt survivor, madalas tinatanong ako kung what keeps me going. Ang lagi kong sinasagot yung mga anak ko, a few close friends, and my mental health advocacy. Yan. So any kind of advocacy should be intentional and organized if it is to be effective. So it does require hard work and grit. But the payoff is great. Advocacy can be a source of meaning and purpose in our life, gaya nung kay Marl. And for me personally, ang dami ko natutunan because of advocacy work. So not only skills like designing, editing, communication, coordination, but I've also learned a lot from other people. I've met amazing people who have become good friends. Itong mga kasama ko sa Moral Fund. Ayun. So it really has been uh, a great and wonderful thing for me personally. Okay, so here are my references on digital advocacy. And if you want to connect with us for any reason, you may get in touch with us at the Marlon Reston Mental Health Warrior Fund through Facebook and Instagram at the Marl Fund or at our website, themarlfund.org. And for me naman, you can send me an email through lorraine.bermejo@gmail.com or go to my website, lofybermejo.online. So thank you so much for listening today. And I'd love to hear if you have any questions, any input regarding this talk. So thank you so much for listening.